another kind of negative attitude that's been noticed, and I think it's something we should also give attention to and talk about, is the attitude of people doing only the barest minimum. Only the barest minimum. Now, what's only the barest minimum? As the name implies, it's the least you can do, and you think it's okay. Now, the problem with doing only the barest minimum is that you cannot do only the barest minimum and expect to succeed. Well, you might succeed, but then your success will be the barest minimum success that you can get. You cannot. It's difficult to find very successful people who went on to become very successful by just doing only the barest minimum. It's not possible. It's difficult. Well, if I say it's not possible, it might look like, well, I'm overblowing, but it's difficult to find such people. Look at all the great people, the great achievers of all times. Look at Usain Bolt, look at Michael Phelps, one of the greatest Olympians. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at all these people never stopped at the barest minimum. They always tried as much as they could to do something extra, to go the extra mile. And that's the point. You cannot expect to succeed in life by just doing the barest minimum. You have to go the extra mile. Many people take up jobs and then they have this attitude or this mindset that, well, I'm going to do only my job description. Every other thing or any other thing you ask me to do, if it's not in my job description, if it's not within the scope of what I was employed to do, then count me out. I'm not going to do that. But you must understand that the biggest corporations, the biggest organizations, the biggest industries, the most successful businesses, they were built by people who went the extra mile. If the owners of those businesses stopped at the barest minimum, they would never have built the business or the organization or the corporation to where it was or where it is today. And then these businesses, these corporations are enviable. People want to work in them, and then people who decide to work in them now want to do only the barest minimum and expect to succeed or expect to rise in those businesses or in those corporations. You cannot rise to levels of management and leadership in businesses, in organizations and corporations by doing only the barest minimum. Your life will never attain the height of success you dream for it to attain if you remain or keep doing only the barest minimum. So that's the point I'm trying to make today. Look at most successful people. Michael Phelps, one of the greatest Olympians, he's had so many medals when it comes to swimming, in all categories of swimming. In the men's category, all the races in swimming, he's gotten medals in all those races because he tells you he spends more time in the swimming pool than every other swimmer. If every swimmer wants to be excellent and then every excellent swimmer spends 8 hours in the swimming pool, Michael Phelps will spend 10 hours. He goes the extra mile. One of the athletes, I like using sports because it illustrates very clearly things like attitude and the kind of perception people should have towards the things they do and how they should lead themselves in the things they do for them to get success. So sports is very illustrative. I like using sports. Look at, I like using the East Africans, for instance, who run long distance races. They continue to dominate in that sport, in that event, because they go the extra mile. They take their trainings to difficult terrains where other athletes don't take their trainings to. Many athletes, you cannot. That's the point. You cannot train in a gym or in a stadium. Train in a gym or in a stadium for a long distance race, maybe 3,000, 5,000, and then expect to beat someone who's been training in the mountains, who's been training in the wilderness, who's been training in the desert. You cannot, because he has pushed his body to the limits that nature can accommodate. You've put yourself in just an environment that is conducive for your body, but he's pushed his body to the limits of nature. So you cannot succeed, you cannot reach the heights of success that you want to reach if you keep doing only the barest minimum. It's time for you to take up the challenge. It's a bad attitude. It's a very poor attitude. If you remain at the level where you continue doing just what it takes to go by, you will have a life that gives you just what it takes to go by. But if you take the extra mile, if you put in the extra effort, if you have an attitude that says, well, I want to succeed, I want to be the best, I want to stand out, I want to make a mark for myself, for my generation, I want to stand out, therefore I have to do something that every other person does not do. I have to go the extra mile, I have to take the extra step. In every aspect of life, in every sphere of life, it works every time. It works every time. It really works every time. So, it's an attitude problem. If you stick with doing only the barest minimum, you'll get only the barest minimum success. But if you take the extra mile, if you put in the extra effort, if you say, well, I'm going to do something extra, I'm going to take my extra effort, I'm going to do whatever it takes under God to make things work, things will work. And it happens, it also applies to things like marriage and relationships. You cannot have a successful relationship by just doing only the barest minimum in your relationship. You cannot. You have to take that extra effort to put in the extra sacrifice. You have to take that extra effort to put in the extra discipline. And then your relationship will succeed. And you'll see your relationship, it's hard work. And you must have the attitude of hard work. Having the attitude of just doing the barest minimum is laziness. It's laziness. You will never succeed. You will never reach your goals. You will never reach your potentials. At best, you'll just get only the barest minimum success. And that's something you must think about. You must put that into perspective. Change the attitude. Consider your attitude. Consider it very, very importantly, consider your attitude. Do not remain at only the barest minimum. Do something that makes people see that yes, you've taken the extra effort. You've gone the extra mile. You've done something extra. And then extra reward comes. Talent is never enough. If you stick with only the talent you've got, you're doing only the barest minimum. But if you put in the extra work to hone your talent, to harness your potential, and bring out the best in you, you are going to find success at the highest place.